Good evening. I am Steve, and this is my rock and metal life. It's what I do. Just going to talk about the concerts that I went to this year. It's the day after Christmas. Hope everybody had a Merry Christmas and going to have a good New Year's. I had a fantastic Christmas, and it was a good month of December for me because I got to go to two shows. And this was a year I went to five shows. You know, that's good. I've obviously had much bigger years, but yeah, that's the way it worked out this year between uh, who was coming around, how much money I wanted to spend, stuff like that. So I'm gonna go over the list of what I did, and the first two shows were small shows, and they were in the smaller venues here in Fresno. The first one was at a place called Fulton 55, and like the other small venues, Strummers, maybe 200 people, 150 people, something like that in these shows. And this was a tribute to Iron Maiden. It's the Iron Maidens, which is an all-female Iron Maiden tribute band. And this show was fantastic. Just you don't compare it to a Kiss event or something like that you see in an arena. But the thing about this show, which is a big deal to me, is the songs, the catalog, the Iron Maiden, the whole lore and everything about them. Uh, this band, very, very good, and a very good song selection they had. Uh, they played the songs really well, but if you're a fan of Iron Maiden, either a diehard or even just casually, man, they got so many songs, and they're just so good. Uh, so many songs that you're familiar with, songs that are good in concert, everything. Uh, I'm a big Iron Maiden fan. I got most of the catalog. They just pounded out the songs. They did them so good. They did the Trooper good. They did all the stuff that they do. They just nailed it. Um, the singer is obviously a female Bruce Dickinson voice. That's hard to do. And is she a dead ringer for Bruce? No, but boy, she does the songs. The two guitars are going. It's a really, really good, a reasonable facsimile of Iron Maiden. And again, I've mentioned this before. I crossed that bridge a long time ago. Tribute bands. Replacement singer in the original band, two bands, two versions of the band touring at the same time. I'm on board with all of it, as long as it sounds good. I'm on board with Foreigner, with one original member, Leonard Skinner with one guy, from the glory days. Fine with me. I think the songs, the legacy, that's good enough. Just know what you're going there for. Just know what you're going to see. As long as you understand, this is a celebration of the band. And when you got the messy situations like a couple of Great Whites out there, a couple of LA Guns, for me, the Steve Riley version of LA Guns, they're putting out original music. It's pretty good. It's nothing that'll knock your socks off, but it's good. If you go see them, you're gonna get the LA Guns catalog, and they're gonna play the classic songs from the first three records. And honestly, in my opinion, they're out there. If somebody's gonna go to a Steve Riley LA Gun show and hear those classic songs, if anything, they're gonna go out and buy the stuff from those first albums. So I don't know. To me, Phil and Tracy, they're understandably not happy with that going on. But that's the multi versions of the bands. These tribute bands, there was a period of time where I kind of had trouble with it, and I don't. I'm sitting here in all these situations. It's perfectly fine with me to get these songs out there. I don't know how much longer it's going to be viable to do this. I hope forever. I absolutely hope it outlives me. I want Iron Maiden to live on past the guys in the band, no longer being with us. Something like this, it's a celebration. It's just a celebration of Iron Maiden. You go there and you see all the other people in your town, from nearby that come out to celebrate the same thing you're celebrating. And this band was fantastic. They played really, really good. And so that was on February 11th. That was my first show of the year. And from there, we did another small show. And this one's a little more obscure. There's a guy in town here by the name of Trevor Church, and he has a band called Haunt. And Trevor, his dad was in Sammy Hagar's band during the glory years of, Standing Hampton and Three Lock Box and all that. And Trevor is a really gifted musician and plays multiple instruments. And his band is called Haunt. And I often going to see this show. I actually bought this CD of theirs, and they've got quite a few of them out there. And this is, like I say, this CD in particular, not necessarily, it's not heavy stuff as far as, it's not in-your-face metal. Really good hard rock, and there's metal to it, and there's brilliant guitar playing. Trevor's got a great voice. They're always good to see. They play here a lot, and it's just good to see them. And they were on a tour. This was like the end of a tour they did with the other bands were Screamer, Traveler, and Saber. And Saber was really good 80s hard rock metal. I bought their CD off of what I saw there, the guitar playing and the singer with the high-pitched voice. And Trevor, I believe, actually played on this. He played drums, I believe. I think he played drums the night of the show. But Trevor was involved with this and obviously involved with making the tour happen. And this was a deal where this was, if you're around my age and you wish, oh man, why don't they just keep making the music from back then? And what would it look like today? This was a bunch of young guys playing really good hard rock and heavy metal, and it was a good show. They had a good turnout. My opinion could have been even more. The place wasn't completely full, but given that Trevor's from here, and they brought in 4 bands on this really good tour, really strong lineup, and all 4 bands delivered. I would have liked to have seen the place full, but they did fine. They did. They had a good crowd, responsive crowd, really into it, and that was a really good show. And that was on April 30th. So we're heading into May, and I've only been to 2 shows. Well, it's going to be a while before I go to another one, because then we finished the year strong with the Scorpions. And that was a show that I talked about already on here, and it was like rain from heaven, I guess, kind of, because I'd been so long without a show. And it was October 7th, and it's big time band from the old days. The big arena in town, the big arena was full to the top. Just a great show. And Scorpions, they're like Klaus and Schenker and Jabs, they're the key to the band that goes back to the Blackout days. And Klaus's voice, pretty good, carried those songs really well. The 2 guitars, just what you're looking for there. And again, having seen them, back in the 80s, I saw them a couple of times, 90s a couple of times, and, the stage show isn't exactly as energetic as it used to be. And how could it? Klaus is in his 70s, everybody's getting up in age. Not a bad show at all. I mean, this was a really, really good show. No drawbacks. I can't really point to anything that I didn't care for. The ballads of theirs, I'm sorry to say I'm one of the few people that doesn't really, I don't go Winds of Change and that stuff. I don't need to hear it anymore, I guess. I'm more for the heavy stuff when it comes to the Scorpions. But in concert, they're fantastic. In concert, they get the whole audience and the flashlights and everything. So I came out of there with a Rock Believer shirt, and it was just one of those nights that makes me feel like, hey, it's not over, you know. And it looks like it might go for a while, and I hope it does. But you know, how much longer can the Scorpions tour? You know, at their age and everything, I don't know. You know what comes next, I don't know. But you know, all was right with the world for one evening. So that was October 7th, and then pretty quickly it was almost 2 months later, December 2nd, went and saw Trans-Siberian Orchestra for the 9 billionth time. And that, I've got a post up for that on here. It always delivers. And myself, my son, and a co-worker, all three of us said, I think that's the best they've ever been. You know, we all independently felt like that. We'd all seen them multiple times, and this was really cool. They canceled out on us last year, so I've had my tickets for, you know, like a year and a half basically by the time the show came. So, you know, there they are. They've been sitting there. We've been thinking about it for however long, and we got to go. Place was full. They just really nailed the Christmas story, and then all the individual songs, the lighting, the flames, the snow coming out. You know, we were on the floor, so we had tons and tons of the fake snow in our hair. Just a really good event to go to. We went, I want to say, like from 06 to 2011 maybe. We saw them every year. And somewhere along the line, they quit coming here. They would only go to Sacramento and then, I don't know, maybe San Jose, somewhere else. And we never traveled out of town to see them. You know, we'd seen them a bunch, and if they're not going to come here, oh well. Well, then a few years ago, they started coming back. And we went multiple times. We saw them. And then last year, 2021, something happened, I don't know what, and day of, they canceled out. And they said our tickets were good for next year, which here we are, you know. And or we could take them to the Sacramento event like the next night. And, nah. So we just held on to them, and turns out it was, you know, everything worked out right, you know. Didn't really miss them by not having seen them the year before, because we'd seen them so many times. So it wasn't one of those deals where I waited all my life and never got to see these guys. And, you know, I'd seen them plenty of times. But this particular show, I really do think stood out and was, in fact, the best show of any that we've seen. And that's, you know, the music is the music. They nail it every time. The individual singers, you know, contributed to that. It seemed like the guitar interplay, you know, was top shelf, even though it always is. It seemed like it was just a little bit better this time, and really enjoyed it. Then the big grand finale for 2022, we just, what was it, 8 days later? No, it was actually 9 days later. On Saturday, December 10th, we saw the Wasp Armored Saint show, and yes, indeed, as I stated in a previous video, Wasp was just a fantastic show, fantastic event. Not as big of a fan as I probably should have been over the years. I was familiar with the songs that were out there the most accessible from MTV and, you know, Headbangers Ball and the radio, the metal shop or whatever, you know, over the decades. Didn't really do the deep dive on a lot of their songs until, you know, leading up to this show, and boy, it was fantastic. It was everything I said in the other video. It was just a great night out. Great to see all the people. This was in the theater setting. Maybe I think I said I think it was like 700 people, something like that. And I think I said 1,000 in my previous video, but somewhere along the line, I saw the total was like 750, 800. It was sold out. That's all you can get in there. So Wasp was fantastic. Armored Saint, you know, kind of ditto what I said about Wasp, except I was maybe a little less familiar with them than I was with Wasp. But they opened the show with Rain of Fire, which is a song I've always loved. just a really good high energy show. The guitars just, you know, right at you, just nailing everything on every song. The energy of that band, fantastic. John Bush's energy, fantastic. His voice, just excellent. You know, great show. Just these two bands, no, you know, unknown band opening for them. Armored Saint comes out and just bam, you know, right between the eyes, you know, 45 minutes, whatever, which is fitting of their stature, you know, a band around that long with that many good songs, that much of a following. Yeah, they're the opener, but you know, you don't want to see those guys, you know, only get like 30 minutes or something like that. So 45 minutes was good. Could have been a little longer, uh, but it was great. And then Wasp came out with all the theater and everything, and it was just a terrific show. And as I stated before, you know, same with the Scorpions. You know, hey, they're still out there. It's still going. It's alive. It's not on its last leg. You know, that kind of thing. Um, you know, I always look at the age group of, you know, who's at these shows, and yeah, you know, it's a little older. You can definitely see a scenario where, you know, the shelf life, you know, could very well be up before too long. But again, you know, for that night, that was a Saturday night. Um, it rained like crazy, you know, during the day, and I thought, you know, I still wasn't completely sure how many people were going to be at the show. I was afraid it was going to be half empty or something like that. And so we took off a little early because of the rain, because nobody here knows how to drive in the rain. It's ridiculous. So we got there early, and I was pleasantly surprised to see big long line of people in the rain, you know, down the sidewalk, and I had to park way far away. There we go. That's what I'm looking for, and really happy with that. So anyway, big finish to the year. I don't know, 5 shows, and 2 of them were, you know, basically club shows. You know, I've had worse years, but most of them there's more. Um, you know, after 2020 and not going to a single show all year, I mean, you know, I'll take it. This was great. All we've got lined up for 23 at this point, Tesla's doing a residency in Las Vegas. I think it's in March or April. I think it's in March. So it's still a ways out. And we got some seats for that. And so we're going to make it make a weekend out of it and all that. But other than that, I don't really have anything. We got our big arenas got like Journeys coming. Uh, Gonna skip that. I think REO Speedwagon, it might have already happened, but REO Speedwagon's coming to a theater around here. Skip that. Who else? Like John Mellencamp, I know is coming. There just isn't anything on the schedule at this point that I can say, you know, we're going to do that. But I tell you what, these little arenas or these little venues, man, some people come in that, you know, I don't hear a thing about it unless I go on the website and I check their upcoming shows, and you know, you'll find out stuff, you know, like you know, John Corabi did a solo show at the Fulton 55 venue one time, you know, and I found out about it after the fact, you know, stuff like that. So anyway, I'm just gonna keep my eyes on the calendar and see if I can line some shows up. The money involved in the big shows, you know, it's sad. You know, it kind of makes it tough, but you know, if it's the people I like, I really got no problem with it. Somebody like Guns N' Roses that isn't going to come here, uh, you know, the pricing there, boy, you know, that's travel, and it's a hotel stay, and the seats and all that. You know, those are tough, but for the right one, you know, we went to the Los Angeles area for Iron Maiden a few years ago. We went down there for a Judas Priest show on the Firepower tour. You know, I'm always up for that stuff. And since we're doing so much traveling through the Southwest, maybe I may very well, you know, see if I can get like, oh, I don't know, whoever's touring. You know, maybe they're not coming to Fresno because a lot of them don't. You know, maybe I'll go to Phoenix, you know, or Tucson if they got them there. Maybe I'll do something like that. But that was my year, you know, and I'm glad I have the opportunity, and I'm glad all these shows. I don't have anything bad to say about these shows. That's another good thing. Um, I think gone are the days when you know the band's all messed up and they can't perform, or somebody's like way out of line. I think at this stage of the game, the bands I go see, they're professionals, and they're mindful of their legacy, maybe, and you always get a good show. The only thing to quibble about ordinarily is maybe the song selection, because some of these bands got such a big catalog. Um, you know, there's always going to be some people, oh, I can't believe they played this. Why didn't they play that? Whatever. If they come here and they play a top level show, I'm happy. So that's it for now. We'll see more to come. There is a possibility on the 29th. But I'm not going to be here. Never mind. There's a punk show downtown, so I'm not going to be here, so we can't do that. But anyway, more to come. If we go to somebody else before Tesla, I'd definitely be sitting here talking about that. And I hope everybody gets the opportunity to go out and see the bands that they love live, because to me that's really what it's all about. I carry this stuff with me. I listen to it all the time. But boy, if you get a chance to go see it performed live, I've spent a small fortune doing it. I'm going to keep doing it as long as it's available to me. So that's it. We'll talk the next time.